All right, we are live with our trading crew today with another FOMO Friday. Really excited to dive into the markets. Lots of stuff happening in the markets today. So excited to dive into it. Anything that we discuss here today is not financial advice, it's purely for educational and fun purposes. There is some really interesting stuff that's happening in the markets right now. BTC is choppy. It's looking like lots of wicks and lots of interesting price action there. I was hoping yesterday that we were to see at least a good topping pattern, but it seems like we definitely have some more upside. Remember, these are in back in 2022 when we had a couple of bullish months. The first time that it happened, which was in February and March, it was actually Q1. There were 2 months back to back that were green before we saw any kind of downside, and so we could be looking at something potentially similar here, right? We had March had closed green, and so it will be very interesting to see how the month of April closes. So I'm going to be watching for that very carefully, and we'll dive right into the markets. I see that we have Bits of Wealth with us today. We have Nat, we have William. Hopefully, a couple of other people are able to join us as well. But yeah, excited to dive in. Bits, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing well. Hopefully, this goes a little smoother than the spaces was going
Oh
this morning.
God,
So
spaces were so bad today.
Yeah,
awful today.
it's
Which you know what? It's interesting is there was I haven't fact checked it, so I don't know if it's accurate or not. But I saw a post going around that XAI's CFO, if I read that correctly, I think was leaving the company, and that his only comment was "It's over." I wonder what that means.
Oh, wow. Okay, that is interesting.
Yeah.
You know how our inner narcissist comes out every time the space is rug because we think it's us. It's just me.
Yeah.
And so that's what happened today. I see Price has joined as well. Price,
Yeah.
we are live already. So yeah, we looks like we have everybody here today. But yeah, it's
What
funny
is
because
up?
hey, hey. We are hoping that today's stream goes well because everybody's having a ton of issues on X today. I was having issues with my messages where it basically don't they were not loading. Spaces kept rugging on there, and so I was just telling the crew that it's funny because our inner narcissist comes out every time we have issues with Twitter or X. Right? We think it's all about us. It's just me. I'm having issues. Everybody else is okay, but it seems like most of the time everybody is having issues with spaces. So yeah, excited to dive into the markets. Bits, you want to take it away? I see that you have your chart up already.
Yeah, I can. Here, I'm just making sure my stream is going out. Boom, there we go. Cool. So I should be going to my page as well. All right, let me pull all this stuff up. Boom. All right. All right. What's the best view? There we go. We'll roll with this one. Yeah, I mean, look, BTC's still here in this area. I went live last night, and one of the ways I was kind of talking about what I was looking for here was through the lens of, yeah, I guess we'll do it here on the 4 hour. Let me get rid of this channel. But just through the lens of like a horizontal range. And I basically said, look, this is your range high, this is your range low based on volume profile. And if you understand like value area and, you know, where 90% of price falls inside of within this range is in this range. You have small outliers, but 90%, maybe even 95 or higher is here inside of this box, inside of this range. So um my comments were basically that this is not a breakout to me yet. Doesn't mean that a breakout isn't loading, but this is not what I would consider a breakout. There's two things I typically look for when I'm looking for confirmation out of a range like this. I'm looking for distance from the zone, right? So distance to the upside, and then I'm looking for time above the zone. So these two things need to happen for me to get, confirmation that okay, we're breaking out, and the chances of us going back in here are now lower. I need both of these things. So what does that typically look like for me? When you combine both of those things, what I'm basically looking for is I want this thing at some point to break out and then either chop, spend some time kind of chopping and then come back and do something like this. But either way, you're building area below the curve, if you will, right? I need to see that here. I need to see that daylight. Or this needs to be such a vertical move that even if it comes down, because it's so vertical, same thing. It still builds area below the curve. It still builds that daylight. What you don't want to see, right, ultimately, is like you don't want to see something like this that right away does that. Like that's going to be dangerous if it starts coming down very, very quickly. Why? Because you're not getting daylight in here. The chances of this just falling back into the range and failing are still there. So what you want to see is, this thing, if it does get an initial pop, maybe it initially pops and then, it could do something like this where it just kind of chops and then does something like that. Or it could be more vertical, like where we could take out 75 up here on a nice little pump and then ultimately kind of consolidates or hangs out near that high. And then at some point, if it forms a range up here, I want it to like sweep those lows and then make that continuation move to the upside. So it's kind of what I'm looking for right now. To say that this has in any kind of way confirmed that this range is no longer valid is kind of silly, considering you had that much price action above the range previously and it still fell back inside of it. Obviously, wicks don't count, but we still could be doing something like that. There's nothing here above this level here. There's really nothing but wicks. So there's no established price acceptance for me. I want to see this thing get a pop at some point and move higher. So we'll see if that happens today. There's a lot of liquidity that's building here. You can see it if you look at Market Monkey, or I'm sure CoinGlass probably has it as well, but there's quite a bit of liquidity building below these. One thing Steve called out that is worth noting is that off of these lows, you've basically been keeping longs really, really comfy. These guys are very, very comfy, where you really haven't had a move that has come down to shake any of these out on any level. So it's almost like they're engineering this liquidity, keeping it there, saving it. So, I don't know how much of this could get taken, but if you got a fast move that at least came here, I think it makes sense. Somewhere around there. Again, though, this could be the play to look for higher. I'm just saying that to me, there's a lot of liquidity building here. And then you have all these perfectly protected higher lows, which I'm always a little sus about. And then if you pull a fib, off of the absolute low to the high here, let's switch this over to a fib retrace. You can kind of see some of your levels to the downside here. A move down below this liquidity is a 382 type pullback. 50% of this entire range is back here near this prior high. That makes sense to me as well. And then golden pocket is down here, potentially challenging these lows. So yeah, if this thing fails and you get a pullback, and if here for some reason on the way up it has trouble getting up and out of the zone here again, then you're basically accepting back in here. I'd be looking at a pullback somewhere down here at least, potentially even to challenge that, and then we'll kind of reassess what happens here inside that zone. So, I mean, that kind of gives you what I'm expecting on both sides. If what I want to see to the upside to get continuation versus like if we pop back in here and we fail to get out of it, then I think we have to start looking at some of these downside levels and filling at least this inefficiency here at least. And then potentially again, you're gonna have a little bit of liquidity down here somewhere that it could come for as well. But this zone here makes a lot of sense for me for BTC. So we'll see. And then at that point, I mean, if you're even if you're using like the method of like counting impulsive moves up like Ash does, I don't know if he would be calling this one. He might actually be calling this. Let me use the brush. There's a chance he could be calling this as like 1 corrective, 2 corrective, and then 3. Um, but for me, I mean, I'm kind of seeing like 1, 2, and then potentially if there is a third push, it could be
That's
the
how I
one
see
that
it.
takes us up here. So
Yeah.
I'm leaning more towards this one, but I do see why someone would count that as like 1, 2, and then this being a messy 3. I could see that as well. So we'll see. But either way, I think like the lesson I'm trying to really um, nail down right now is that we are at the top of a range. What you could call as resistance. Not only is this, nearing value area high, you're also here in this inefficiency zone. So you're also kind of filling this gap. Um, in terms of you did a yeah, I mean, even if you pulled a fib this way, you're nearing right. Like if you pulled a fib from this previous high to this previous low, you're nearing that 786,854 on a retracement of this move, right? Of this entire move here. So of that move, you're now nearing 786,854 retracement. So you still could, I guess what I'm trying to say is you still could get a rejection somewhere in this area, still be ultimately putting in a lower high. And then what we need to see is does it find acceptance back into this zone? So that's where I'm at with BTC pretty much as I'm just kind of watching here. There's really nothing actionable here. I've tried a couple scalp shorts here, but they're not sticking. Like you get some of it to the downside and then it just comes back. So right now, this is just showing us that there's a lot of eagerness to get out of here.
Yeah.
But ultimately, we need to see it prove out and actually get up and out of here. So, and you see the same thing with stablecoin dominance. Stablecoin dominance came down. It's at a very key little pocket here um, where it's kind of filling this inefficiency here to the downside. Same thing. You have a big low slightly below, and then sitting here, it's just kind of pounding that. It's already had 4 touches here to this level. So either we're about to see a major melt that potentially could take that out, or it's going to be a trap move. If it doesn't take out this previous low from March, this could just be a nice big trap, and then this thing just reverts back up that way, which is very much a possibility still here for stablecoin dominance. So that's what I'm watching. We'll see what we get. Happy to play it either way.
Bates, there is a question from one of our audiences. Isn't wave 1, 3, 5 moves up and 2, 4 corrective waves? I think they're talking about Elliott waves.
Yeah, I'm not speaking so much about Elliott wave as much as I'm speaking about impulsive moves. This framework is more part of like market maker method and understanding the impulsive versus corrective moves inside of like a fixed range. So yeah, Ash Devin Janaz is his handle, but Ash talks about this quite a bit, and it's not really his system either. He learned it as part of the TBD system with Trade Travel Chill, and then he's incorporated it. We've both kind of modified it. I never was part of that community, so I didn't learn it through that, but I am familiar with concepts from market maker methods and how you get kind of those pushes up and basically stretching and hunting that last little bit of liquidity near or even slightly outside of a range.
Yeah, no, love that. And market maker method, I mean, it's actually pretty incredible, especially like the patterns that you're able to recognize. They are a phenomenal pattern to study and leverage throughout your trading career.
Look, I threw this little poll up, Lady Trader. It's a new thing on I'm curious how it's going to work. Like while we're sharing and stuff, are you guys able to vote on this?
Oh, wow.
I'm curious if the audience is able to vote on this, guys. So if you're watching this and you're able to see the poll and vote on it,
this
be
is
curious to see if so this is kind of cool. We can throw polls up. I don't know that it lets us pick like where to hide it or where to put it, like the placement, but let me see if I can find widgets. Oh, we can hide it. We can hide it, but the poll is still live. Okay, cool. Yeah, let me know if you guys can participate in that. I'm just curious.
Yeah. One more question. What do you guys think of the trend line from the all-time high to here? You guys think we'll get a reaction?
I'm assuming you're probably talking about like something like this, right? Basically, is what I'm assuming you're talking about. Let me know if that's accurate, if that's what you're referencing here. I don't do diagonal trend lines like this a lot. It's not that they don't work, and it's, you know, there are plenty of examples where they have worked.
I'm with you on that, Bits. I'm not big on trend lines or like Elliott wave theory. Yeah.
You like my
like that, I'm
comment,
not-
Lady Trader? You like my comment? Ultra bullish.
I did.
Look,
I'm bringing up all of the comments here. So many comments today.
I would say if even if this trend line is anything, I'm more of a channel guy. I really like ranges and channels. I would say that if anything, you have this as a potential channel here inside of the current range. Like, this to me is a better representation of how price is moving inside of here. And if anything, even if this trend line is valid, it would just be a move to the top of that channel, which I think is a better technical representation of why price would reject up here, as opposed to someone just saying like, ooh, there's this trend line from the high. It's like, no, there's a range that's happening here. And it happens to be that a move up to where this is also a run on that liquidity that you currently would have right above this 75K high, right? And it's also where this prior range high up here is as well. So it's like, you're really, even though this trend line falls inside of that, what you're really saying is you're going to get a sweep of the top of this channel somewhere up here near the top of the channel. And then we want to see what happens there at that point. Does it fall back into the channel and then do that? Which we also know that a lot of times these ascending channels, ascending wedges, ascending everything, they tend to break to the downside. So we do know that, you know, we do have that data. So so look, maybe that trend line is valid, but I would say that there's better ways to think about that and talk about that by just understanding liquidity and ranges, and then that trend line just happens to coincide with that right there. Ethereum has a really, and I'll hand it over after this, Lady Trader. But now that he asked about the trend line and it brought up the channel discussion, ETH has something very interesting that BTC does not. So a lot of people are looking at this here, right? They're looking at this range here and they're saying, yeah, there's not a lot of similarities with how the one above moved, right? Like up here, you were making higher lows, you're making higher highs, right, off of the drop, right? And then you kind of went flat for a while with two final pushes. Over here, you didn't. Over here, you were actually making lower highs and lower lows within that range after putting in the initial drop. So here, like, you had energy to the upside, whereas here we've had nothing but energy to the downside, and then we're now recently kind of trying to push higher. ETH was interesting. I was looking at this one last night on stream, and ETH is actually not that dissimilar from the last range up here. Like, initially you might not see it, but it's really not that dissimilar. So what I did is I actually grabbed a bars pattern off of this. So I just copied the fractal to see what that would look like. And tell me that's not pretty accurate. I mean, that's pretty close.
Yeah.
Very
And
close, yeah.
and isn't it interesting that it also plays very nicely within the channel that it's in? Notice rejection at the channel mid, rejection at the channel mid. Like, notice this, right? Support at the fib line right here for the channel. Support at the fib line, riding the bottom of the channel. And then what does it do when it finally breaks down? It comes and it back tests. It gives you that bearish retest right here. So it breaks down, bearish retest of the channel, not once, but twice. And then you lose this floor here, and then it just goes lower. Isn't that interesting? Ethereum, who would have thought? But it's moving very, very similar to this upper range in the way that broke down. So I'll be watching this one. Plays way too clean with this channel for me to not pay attention to that being a potential setup. So again, like, I think we were talking, Lady Trader, on the last time, that to me it seems like Ethereum is kind of telling the truth, and Bitcoin is like trying to fake us out a little bit. Like Bitcoin's playing with our emotions, whereas ETH and some of the alts are actually telling us the truth. They're showing the actual weakness quite a bit better, and BTC is trying to like pump itself up, and it's peacocking a little bit. It's trying to act like it's tougher, stronger, cooler than it actually is. But all the alts are telling us like, no, we're not going higher. Like this is probably what's happening. So if this is what's happening, I mean, ETH is telling us that it's if it's going to repeat, it's not even going to take out this previous high. It's not going to take out its March high. It's going to chop around here, reject, and then try one more time, take out this current high, and then it would roll over. Wouldn't that be something if this thing played out? I mean, it'd be pretty interesting if that played out.
Yeah.
So if that happens, what does that mean? Does that mean that BTC is actually gearing up to get a rejection here, or is BTC going to fake out, go higher, divergent to the rest of the alt market? Alt markets remain weak. BTC fakes like it's stronger, and then we get a massive bombing, just an epic nuke to the downside. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll hand it over. I've talked enough. Talked way too much.
Yeah,
Pulled a fib from.
Jeez.
Hey, look, I'm making up for missing last week.
Yes.
You know.
And even this week we had some. We didn't have all of the streams this week either.
Correct.
So
yeah.
I see a question from CryptoCram. Pulled a fib from 89.5 to 60K.
All right, let's do this. Just on ETH or on Bitcoin? Oh, I mean, BTC. Bitcoin, obviously. Yep.
Of course, it's BTC.
Sorry. I didn't listen to. I didn't listen to the numbers. I just saw.
What was that fake coin you mentioned just now? Which one?
Hold on. Sorry, I had a brain fart moment. It's just.
Oh, you're good.
From what? From what numbers did he say? From
89.5
to 60K.
To 60K. Yeah.
Why are we pulling them from 89.5? Where's 89.5? 89. Where are you at here, Crank?
He's saying BTC same channel, so I guess he's wanting you to check the channel fibs.
No, I don't know what he's talking about. So from 89.5, that's up here. So where's he pulling from? Is he talking about that? Like something like is he saying like something like that? Or is he talking about traditional fibs? I don't know. Cranky, pull your own fibs on your own show, buddy. Do your own fib pulling on your own shows, man. Don't you're making me look silly over here. I don't even know what you're talking about, man.
Crypto Crank, if you want to send it in the comments, separate, like not in the stream comments, but actually on the post comments, and I will share it and we can go over it, what you're talking about. I don't think any of us understand what you're talking about.
He's like, pull the damn fib. Okay, wait. I don't understand. But why would I pull it off 89.5? Like, I don't see where I would anchor it. I'd see 98. Like, you telling me to pull it off of that to 60K? But why 89.5? 89.5. 89.5. Are you saying off of this high maybe here? Maybe he's talking about that high right there, but that's like 90K. I'm just, what's tripping me up is I don't know why he would pull it from 89.5, but, you know.
Crypto King says, okay, here we go. He says, pull the fib, dude.
Make your channel at the bottom and the breakout. Pull your own fibs. I'm done, man. This guy's now he's talking channels. Yeah. Now look, in all seriousness, I really I'm not following, but I'm happy to watch you pull your own fib on your channel.
Yep.
Waterfall from
pull your own fibs. That's going to be the quote of the day. Pull your own fibs. All right.
That's funny, man.
That's so funny. Okay, looks like BTC is about to break out to the upside here. Probably that's what it looks like to me. So we'll see. Net, are you ready? We can bring up your okay, perfect.
Yeah. So on the shows, I like to, just back test what we all talk about. Because it helps the audience, and they can also go and ahead and back test on their own as well. And for educational purposes, but in all of that good stuff. Before I dive into this though, disclaimer, you cannot when I mentioned liquidity areas, it is important to know that you have to use them in conjunction with your chart, right? This cannot be used solely on its own. It has to be used with the chart. Okay. With that being said, yesterday we had a lot of liquidity, mid 73K. We grabbed a big chunk of that. right? What's left is like really, really minor. But the very interesting thing is now the big pocket of liquidity is at 74, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I were to just bring this down, 74 250 and 74 200, 64 million at 74 2. Right, so that's an interesting area. Granted, it is not the 90 to 100 billion like we saw at 75K, right? 75K, 67K, I'm sorry, 67K was a big, big area. We had massive amount of liquidity, it was over 180 million, and we saw how price gravitated towards that. We bounced on it, and then we just went higher, as you see current price, right? But this area is very interesting. This is currently building. This is the same kind of amount that we saw at 67K before it increased. Not saying that this is going to increase, right? But it's definitely something to keep an interesting eye on. Do I think we just get there in one massive major candle? No. 70 on the chart, 73 500 is a big, big area. Right, we've tried to break above it. We rejected a few times. Or 73K, 73 200. We tried to break above that, rejected a few times. We went back and revisited 72. So if we're able, and then I said this earlier on the space, right? If we're able to get some volume, get some follow through that we need, I wouldn't rule out us revisiting 74, 74 2, 74 3. Above that, there's some slight buildup with 54 at 74 600 and 25 million here and 28 at 75. So there is definitely some buildup, but here's the interesting part. There is this line, and then there's this line. There's buildup at the top at both ends, right? So this is 80K or 79,999, and this 34 million. 1 million increase. It was 33 yesterday, slight 1 million increase, and this is 63, which is a big area as well. Even if you I believe there's a fib there too. This is
Mm-hmm.
38, and this is 5 million buildup from earlier today, right? These two were at 33 million not that long ago. So there's definitely liquidity building up on both sides. There's this cluster here, but it's all that 70 millions, 70,500. Not that strong, right? And this is where we kind of have to be careful with these small pockets of liquidity. These can be easily spoofed, easily manipulated. So I kind of just focus on like the big pockets, right? So
Ned,
74.
Ned, do you want to go over these so that when you're putting your mouse there, we see that 52 mil, 52, 57. Which one are you looking at? Like 63?
This
Are
one
you
right here.
so
I usually, yeah.
so because
So,
there are
oh,
three different
yeah.
rows.
Yeah, so I tend to just look at all of them, but usually on the, I have to send a screenshot because it's not letting me touch it and then point to which one I'm looking at. So if we have three, I'm usually looking at the ones on the left. Does that make sense?
So you're looking at the 59.5 mil.
50, yeah, 59.5, and then I work my way down. But usually, like we saw with the 67, when BTC was at 67,000, the one on the left was the big one, the 180 million, and that's the one that we gravitated to.
Okay. So there are 59.5, and then there was also like a higher one on the right side, 63. What's the
Yeah.
difference between these levels?
Yeah, that is actually a great question. These are pulling from different APIs. I can make a post and really dig into to these some more. But usually when we see price gravitating towards these levels, it's usually following the levels on the left. With Kiyotaka, it's more clearer, and I can pull that up in a second as well. But usually when we see the price gravitating towards these price pockets, it's usually following the liquidity on the left. And if we really want to zoom out and really bring this down, we have this section right here, right? But this is, I'm watching this 34 34.52 range. And what's very interesting about this area here is that when we pulled up Kiyotaka, this area was only visible there, but it wasn't really visible on Market Monkey Terminal just yet. I'm sure if you guys remember that, but now it is visible across the board, right? This 80K area is visible. It's visible on Market Monkey Terminal now. It's visible on both spot and perps, and it's also visible on Kiyotaka. So that's a very interesting area. But similar, same thing with this 60K and 59K. This buildup is very, very slight. See, 22M. So nothing really there just yet. But the reason why I bring this all up is because I love Bit's take when he mentioned he has to see more. So look, 74.21 at, oh my God, I just lost it, at 74K ish. So the reason why I bring this up is because I do like Bit's take. If we see a straight line up, just to grab the liquidity areas here, without forming a base or without giving it some light, I can see us going straight up and then probably back down to some of these areas, but they're not strong just yet, right? They are increasing just slightly, but they're not as strong as the liquidity at the top, right? And lately, the price action right here is telling us that for the last week, have been really just hitting the liquidity pockets to the top whenever they're higher. So
Mhm.
this was at 53M, we grabbed that. This was at 28, we grabbed some of that. This was at 64 in the middle right here. We grabbed some of it. We had a lot on the left, and we grabbed a lot of it on the left. So it's kind of just gravitating to these pockets. Granted, 90 million to 100 million on the liquidity front, those tend to be the bigger aggressive moves like we saw on that 67K range. But to the downside, there is definitely some build up there, right? They're not, like I
Mhm.
mentioned, they're not as strong. They're all 22M. And they're at least for right now, right? These things can change, and they tend to change overnight sometimes, like we saw what happened with 67K. So this one is almost at 30 million. What is this one? This one's at 38 million. We just touched on that, the 63K. So very, very interesting. Right now, the big area, I did get into a long at 71.8. We did take some profit. We kept some runners. I'm aggressively taking profit in this market. And I moved my stop loss up just in case, right? Because I'm getting ready for some kind of volatility. But I wouldn't rule out some kind of a quick move to 64.2 to grab some of this here.
Mhm.
If we're able to break above 73.5, right?
Yeah.
So now
Mm.
the other thing, last week we were talking about a pullback in oil and a pullback in energy, and we got that aggressive pullback. So one thing that I want to do, I want to just revisit before I hand the pass the mic. I want to just like revisit what these chart currently look like, so the audience can go back and like back test what we were looking at as well. Is that okay?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, 1 second. Let me just bring this up. Stop sharing this and pull up my. There you go. Okay. Can you guys see it?
Not yet.
Let me
Let
know when you
me
can
bring
see
it
it.
up. Yep, I can see it now. This is oil, right?
Okay. Yep. So we're gonna start with oil and then we go into the energy plays. Now everyone has their own way of reading the RSIs, right? For me, whenever, and I mentioned it last time, right? Whenever I see this kind of buildup, for me, granted we can go higher, but this usually says that a pullback is incoming. So a few days ago when we positioned ourselves short, I was looking at this, but also the massive rejections that we've had at the top, right? I don't think the top is in. I really do think that we'll go ahead and move. higher. However, I do see the possibility of this week being filled, and I believe we touched on it last time, to 79, and there's also this area right here. But the whole point of this is that we got some of the move that we were looking at, and it's funny that it coincided with the news, but the chart kind of dictated to us that regardless, there was a pullback incoming, and myself and my community, we were able to profit off this move down. And not only did we do this on the crypto side, right, but we also were able to take advantage and get into an oil short in the stock market, in USO specifically, and that printed beautifully. USO was one of the charts that we showed in the first stream that we had together. I was targeting like 145 to 149. um with what I was seeing this right here, I figured we'll go ahead and put position ourselves. And usually on the way I trade, I don't try to catch like the tippy top of anything. For me, I needed to confirm. So once we got that confirmation, we were able to profit greatly off that. The other thing I mentioned, right, a pullback in oil would mean a pullback in energy. And one in particular that we were constantly looking at is Oxy, because that is both oil and natural gas. And look at that. We were able to profit beautifully off this as well. Landed right on that EMA. Beautiful, beautiful move. I think it can probably continue to go further down if we break below this EMA. I'm looking here. But two scenarios I'm looking at, right, is the possibility of one, that wick being filled on the US oil chart to like 79. I would like to see that, and a break of this EMA. I would also like to see that. But obviously there's a lot going on, so I could see a scenario in which we do like a slight bounce and then continue further, both in energy and in oil. And we kind of saw that a little bit as well on Brent, when but this was on Osmium. I trade Brent on Osmium, but Brent I could see us coming down to 81, maybe possibly, yeah, 81. Or, and we had this already, right? We bounced off 92. We've been bouncing here back and forth, back and forth, back and forth for like the last 3 days. So that's what I'm looking at. Do we revisit this 92 and then bounce to 99 again? Or do we continue and give me that full sweep at 81, which would cool the weekly a little bit more, right? So that's what I'm kind of looking at. I did get into We were able to profit yesterday off the bounce. So we were able to get into a slight long. We took profit, and then we were able to switch short. I kept my runners. I moved my stop loss, and the runners for my short position, they got stopped out because of the slight bounce that we got on this slight support right here, right? So I think right now oil has to confirm for me whether we continue to revisit this 99, or we continue to come down. It's like literally right in the middle. Usually when it's right in the middle, I kind of just need to wait it out versus chasing. So it hasn't confirmed whether we go up here or revisit here. So I'm kind of just waiting to see what it does, and then my community and I will ready to pounce on it. But in a perfect world, it'll fill the wick before higher. So let's see how that plays out. Either way, I think, we were able to profit greatly on the move to the downside, and oil has just been giving us beautiful setups across the board here, even if whether it's in the crypto side or in the stock market side. um, we're ready for it. That's
Hmm.
just one key area I'm looking at here. I think in order for oil to go higher, it has to break above this, right? And I think on the conversation that we were having with North Star, he kind of wants to see us, I believe he said 150, above 150. I believe for him, it's definitely a go, which is true, right? But for Brent, for me, above 113, 114, for me, I think we're in for some massive, massive upside. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on, at least for now. And that's where I'm at currently in the state of the market, right? I'm looking to see if one, with regards to BTC, if we're able to break above 73.5. I'm looking at a grab of the liquidity there. Obviously, we go above that. 76 is a lot there as well. On the oil and energy, I'm waiting for confirmation whether we revisit that 99 or we go ahead and fill the wick. I'll pass it on. Thank you so much for having me, Lady Trader.
Thank you. Now, you said you also have another platform that you use. Do you want to cover that real quick?
Kiyotaka?
Yeah, Kiyotaka.
Yeah, I'll pull that up. No worries. That's for the liquidity. For the
Yeah.
BTC liquidity. Okay. All right, we'll pull that up. Let me just stop sharing this real quick. All right, just give me 1 second so I can bring that up. Yo. And I will share these in the comments and on my page as well. So that way it's loading. So that way the audience or both communities, all the communities can like kind of take advantage of this and look it up themselves as
Yeah.
well. Yeah. So this one we've covered before. This one was actually ref, referred to me by Dom. He was the one that mentioned this because it is a lot cleaner.
Okay.
Okay, 1 second. I gotta walk downstairs because my thing's about to. Hold on. Let me share this with you guys here. Put it up. Share screen. Okay, this is Kiyotaka. I believe we touched on this before as well. This is showing the
Okay.
same thing at 7. Yeah. See, this is showing the same thing at 74 too. So now we know this area is definitely an area of interest across the board. In both Market Monkey Terminal and in Kiyotaka. And I usually use them. I go back and forth between all three of them. So all three, I mean Perp Spot and Kiyotaka, just to confirm my analysis and see where the liquidity is at across the board. Granted, as I mentioned, guys, we do have to use the liquidity levels in conjunction with the charts and not just the liquidity levels on its own. But it's a great way to gauge as far as give you an overall view where the price potentially could be headed. Granted, if we break above certain key areas.
So,
There's some
Ned, when
buildup
they
above here too. Let's see how far this. Yeah, go ahead.
this is fine. I was going to ask you. So, this one, when you're looking at the liquidity levels, are they talking about the liquidity itself, or are they also talking about like the total leverage? Because that's there too,
Yeah, they're
right?
different. Yeah, so yeah, so this is talking about the liquidity itself.
Okay. Okay. Because some platforms would only give you like, how much is in liquidation bit with leverage.
Yeah,
Because I'm seeing
yeah.
74 too, just on basically plain liquidation map, right? And so I could definitely see one at 74 2, I see 1.03 billion, but that's
74
liquidation
2.
average. 74
Oh,
2,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So interesting. Love
Very
that.
interesting. 1.3 billion is definitely a lot. So 74 is definitely an area we got to keep an eye on, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm definitely watching that one. I'm looking to simplify it as well for people in my community, the liquidation levels that you mentioned, and so that's definitely something interesting to consider. So I'm looking at that one as well. Yeah, thank you, Nat.
Yeah. So what I'll
Appreciate
do
that
is
take.
I Oh, absolutely, absolutely. What I'll do is I'll prepare some kind of something, maybe if it's like a post or some kind of guidelines, just to like break down these liquidation levels a bit more clearer or easier. That way, everyone across the board can understand or kind of see what we're looking at. Because I
Hmm.
get how it can be confusing for a lot of individual, being that we do have Coin Glass, we have Market Monkey Terminal, we have a whole bunch of others that kind of track the liquidity, granted different ways, but they all pull like from the same API.
Yeah, absolutely. And over even to oversimplify, which is what like I've used to do quite a bit as well. Like I wasn't really looking at the actual numbers, which actual numbers are, they seem to be. It's really good to understand that. But even if you
Yeah.
simplify it, it's basically all it is really if somebody's shorting it at 70K, these are major psychological levels. Where are their stop losses gonna be? And that's really the
Yep.
question that you should be asking, right? And so like Bits of Wealth mentioned, your stop loss is going to be my entry. That's an important
Yep.
concept to understand, because that's where the price gets attracted to.
Absolutely. So we have a whole bunch of group of people putting in stop all at the same level, like 60 million and above. Where's price going to gravitate to, right? Especially if we're getting to the big areas like we saw 67K with over 100 million. Where's the price going to gravitate to, right? It's going to gravitate to where most liquidity is, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's why that's important to understand those levels, and that's where
Yes.
those levels are coming from. Um,
That's why I think that if we do go to the upside, I don't think it's just going to be a clean sweep of 76K. I think that more than likely it's going to be a violent squeeze up, because you have to think, right? How many people are already setting limit sells at 76K with a stop a little bit above that, right?
Yeah.
Or are waiting for that move and then they're going to try and ape in. And you know, like initial reaction might be that it taps it, maybe goes a little bit above it, and then comes back down on initial reaction a little bit, like so maybe comes down to 75 or 74, and you know that shorts are going to start stacking in that area. So I personally
Oh
think that
yeah.
if we do go up to 76, I do think there's a really good chance that it extends up um closer to 80, maybe even slightly above 80. I
mhm.
think
Yeah, and
makes
we
a
have that
lot of
area
sense for
too,
me.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense, right? Because we do have that area at 80. Granted, the
No.
liquidity isn't like strong, at least just yet,
Not
but
yet.
we
Not
do
yet.
have, yeah,
Yeah.
not yet,
Yeah.
right? That's a key
Yeah.
word, not yet, but it
Yeah.
is slightly increasing. We saw 1 million that was added overnight. Granted, it's just 1 million,
Yeah.
but they if it increases a lot, I could see us going to 80 and slightly above it too. On my chart, I do have that
Yeah.
crossing of the EMAs that I kind of showed a few times. It's at 84, 804. So I wouldn't rule out some kind of a move or some kind of a wick there. However, with the amount of liquidity that has been building to the downside, I think once the move to the upside is complete, the downside is gonna that rejection is gonna be aggressive.
Yeah. The daily 800 is at 80, almost 81,000,
Yeah,
right around like 81. And then the 200 is a little
Yeah,
bit above that at like 83 and a half.
there you go. Yep.
It'll be,
I could see us tagging that.
yeah. Yeah. It'll be interesting to watch that.
It would, but if we do, and I was kind of mentioning it yesterday when I was talking to we were on the space, and I mentioned my only concern with that 80K area is that everyone's looking at that 80K area for a short, so I can see us going slightly higher to completely rinse that out before the aggressive move to the downside.
yeah, or missing 80K, like missing that, right? That could be another possibility.
Yes,
Since
yes,
because everybody's
agreed.
gonna try and short
I could
there.
see that.
Yeah, but also remember, sometimes it also makes sense to uh, understand who is actually putting that liquidity, right? If it's, let's say Binance has a few $1 billion in a position at a certain level, now that, are they gonna visit that? Because it doesn't matter to them, right? So that's another thing to kind of consider. Where is that liquidity coming from?
This is
Um,
yeah. So currently, right now, that's actually really great. Binance. This is from Binance Perps, but you can also do Coinbase, and you can kind of just customize it to see. So like on Market Monkey terminal on spot, Coinbase is usually the one that I follow for spot, and I've mentioned it before. I brought it up. And Binance perps, the price usually tends to follow that. If the liquidity, like I mentioned, it's heavier, right? If it's like 1 million, 2 million, those they tend to like spoof it. Those they can be like moved around instantly. But if they're heavier than if the top side is heavier than the bottom, if the bottom is heavier than the top, the price tends to gravitate, and we can see it here, right? The price tends to
mhm.
gravitate where the heaviest liquidity is. Like we saw it go grab this over here where it was 58 million, we went slightly above it, and then we grabbed this down here where the price was 46 million, but it was higher at that time, 50 million, and we grabbed it, then went back up, and then we just been grabbing liquidity on both sides of the spectrum. Like it's been, and it speaks to why the chart looks the way that its chart is, like really choppy and messy. It's not like a clean line, at least just yet. Granted, in the short term, right? In the long term, if we zoom out, we can see the structure, we can see the price movements, but on the short term, it's really just it's grabbing a whole bunch of the liquidity.
We're grabbing all the liquidity. My goodness. So much liquidity. So much liquidity.
Liquidity up for grab. Well,
Yo,
thank you,
speaking of
George.
Trump, are you guys seeing there's this some, like I sent it in the group chat, by the way, on X. But Lux Algo called out Trump in his tweets because he's like talking about companies and then giving the ticker. It's like he's shilling them. It's like he's shilling these companies.
He's a KOL, bro. Trump's
He's
a
a
KOL.
KOL. He's a KOL. He's talking about CoreWeave, Robinhood, like a bunch of them. It's like, oh man,
New business model just dropped. Look at that.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's dropping
Oh,
tickers,
lady,
bro. It's so funny. He's dropping tickers, dude.
This is wild.
That's fun.
lady trader. One
Yes.
thing, one last thing I want to show. I think last time we were looking at copper and I shared the chart and I think we both agreed that it was kind of ready to make that move. And it's
Mm-hmm.
making that move here. Let me share my screen real quick. Yeah, let me know when you can see it. It is coming up on this is the weekly. I like trading on the weekly. Granted, we use the 1 hour and the 4 hour for confirmation for entries and for exit and positioning for all of that good stuff. But the weekly, the monthly, the quarterly kind of gives you an overall view
Mm-hmm.
of the structure and the price, right? So
Mm-hmm.
on copper, last week, I believe it was last week, we were looking at copper and we were saying this is getting ready to make a move, and it's making the move now. What I would like to see next is a break of this resistant line, which is at 595. If we are able to break that, then I'm looking at in the sixes, right? And I think if we break this, I'm looking at 8. But I think copper, we were able to get a beautiful entry on copper and we're up nicely. Now it's just a matter of seeing this resistant break. If not, then we'll go ahead and visit some of the supports level. But if we're able to break above this, then I'm looking at 6 and high sixes. Just wanted to update everyone on that because we touched on it last week.
No, this is great. And you know what's funny is that everybody, remember this, you're hearing about copper here right now on FOMO Friday, and Nat is talking
Yes.
about it. Everybody else on Twitter is going to talk about it when it's already made its move.
Yeah, and
So,
that's when we know we gotta get ready to
yes, that's when Nat will be selling. So,
Yes,
when everybody
exactly.
on CryptoX catches up with copper, because yeah, I mean it's very clearly looking like it's going to pump here. And so,
Yep.
I mean, imagine it's going to, $10 and above. People are going to be buying the top there, and
Yes.
you'll be exiting. So, I love that.
Like they did with gold, right?
Yeah.
We were making lines for gold when gold was at the tippy top before it pulled back aggressively.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. All right, Ned, great takes. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. I'm gonna bring up
Thank you.
William. I see you have your chart up. Price, if you want to get your charts ready as well. William, go ahead, my friend. Take it away.
Awesome. Yeah, Price is probably busy playing Arc Raiders. We actually got a game in yesterday. It was a lot of fun. Price,
He
we have
got
to
you.
follow up on that. Yeah,
Got you.
we had to
It
follow up
got
on that.
me.
Price.
Are you kidding me, bro?
I
Will's
carried him. All right.
Will is a killer, bro. Like PvP killer. He definitely carried me, bro. Like what? I
That was a lot of
think you
fun.
dropped like 4 dudes like in the first like 5 minutes or something
Yeah, he's like
on a
looting
big
something,
map.
and I was like,
too.
he's down, he's one shot, and he's like, what? Then he looks up, he's like, sees the bridge, and I'm like, yeah, like I already killed 2 dudes.
Yeah, that's you run over to the edge and look down, and you're like, oh, yep, got both of them. I'm like over there looting this guy. I'm like, what is going on right now?
It's so
Will,
funny.
then
No,
you
we
smoked
gotta-
me. Yeah, you smoked me out of that tight spot, dude. I was pinned down.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, we gotta run it back.
Will
again for
came through
sure,
with
but-
the smoke. I was like, you
I'll
got
get-
smoke, homie. Get me out of here.
I'll get into the markets here. I know we got limited time here, but I just wanted to bring that up. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was
anyways,
great.
yeah, so we're looking
Bits,
at
where you
Bitcoin
at?
here
Come on.
on the weekly here. Yeah, Bits, we need to get him on with the trio for sure. But on the weekly, again, not looking the best. We talked about this many times. As you can see, we're still riding this 200 week EMA. Granted, we are kind of just like trending along it. Like we haven't bounced out of it, this choppy range just yet. But just another key thing I look at is the cloud, guys. Like this red glaring cloud in our face on Ichimoku is just not good. It's getting bigger, actually. It's widening, which is not a good sign. And we have this massive separation between the conversion line and the baseline, and we have the lagging span out below the cloud still. So all in all, on the weekly, it's just still very, very bearish. I need to see price action climb out of the cloud here and see these lines come together and see this lagging span get out of price action on the top side here on the above all these candles. And so on the weekly, I'm still very, very bearish. But if I zoom in on the daily here, it's still pretty much the same story. Kind of similar to what Bits was talking about. We're still in this chop range. Something that I noticed though is that we broke past, if you guys can see it here. Sorry, I need to get this tool right here. If you guys can see it, this baseline here, this red line, it's completely flat, which usually in Ichimoku, when that happens, that's indicative of a very strong support or resistance level. As you can see, we just ripped above it, retested it, bounced, and then came out from it. So that's really nice to see. That basically tells me, okay, wait a minute, there could be a little bit of a pump happening here sometime soon, kind of indicative of what we've seen on many different charts just now with NAT as well as bits. Something that still concerns me is that we have lagging span right here, still inside price action. We have the conversion line still below the baseline, even though they're getting a little tighter, like they're about to kiss, they're about to cross. That's really nice. Another indicative thing here is the very thin, very thin bullish green cloud forming. That's not terrible, but the fact that it's not very wide indicates that there's not a lot of bullish momentum hitting Bitcoin right now. And then, of course, we have the glaring cloud right here. We need to break out of the cloud right here, and we still need to break out of the 200-week EMA right here. And so all that to say that I think kind of similar to what happened back here. Sorry, I keep using the drawing tool back here. If we can maybe replicate this, I think it's possible where we'll see maybe a pump briefly out of the cloud back in January, where we had this movement here, followed by, again, just another dip here. So kind of like what Bits' chart on Ethereum was looking like. I think that scenario is very likely here because it just looks so similar. And I mean, if you look at the time frame as well, this movement was all the way from, what is this? This movement was all the way from, I think, November to January, just about. It was about, 65 to 70 days. And then if you look at this movement here, it's around the same time frame, which is kind of wild to think about. Like, we're at the 65-day mark, 64-day mark right now. And so what that tells me is, if this movement's going to happen, yeah, exactly, wild. Right? That's what's wild to think about. So I do think a move is coming. Could we rip to the upside here, like 75 to 76, maybe even 80? I think it's possible, 100% possible that we rip to 80,000. We'd still be in line with Ichimoku here. We'd still be below this 200-week EMA that we talked about, and we wouldn't be completely out of the woods yet. Even at 80,000, the lagging span, this yellow line back here, would not be out of the cloud, and that's another bearish indicator. And so I'm looking to long here. I'm scalping long here. I did make some money on a scalp long. I'm actually still in a position right now on Bitcoin, scalping it. But I'm not overall flipping bullish here. I think this is cautious optimism here that I think will reward scalpers and really screw over people who are just like buying in spot right now, going like, oh my God, the bottom's in, guys. Look at us. It's amazing. And something else to kind of look at too, I tend to follow the NASDAQ when I'm trading Bitcoin because they move somewhat in tandem. They're not perfect, of course. They have some correlation. But right here, the NASDAQ's doing something very interesting. Like we flipped not bullish, so we flipped slightly bearish here on the NASDAQ on the weekly. So we had lagging span enter price action, and then we had all these red candlesticks here with a cross on that line there. So the conversion line crossing the baseline to the downside indicates bearishness. But something really interesting happened where we had this massive pump bouncing off the candle here, bouncing off the cloud here. And so I just don't know with the NASDAQ whether to be bullish or bearish because we have a ton, as you can see, a ton of bullish momentum here. But Ichimoku's kind of confused. Ichimoku's like, wait a minute, like, could we flip here? Could we break through and have this massive downtrend into the cloud at least? And it's possible. But now with this massive, strong, like, kind of bullish momentum bouncing off the cloud perfectly, I might add, I just don't know anymore. And so we could, I mean, it stands to reason that the NASDAQ could flip bullish here. We could break out above these highs and then have Bitcoin kind of have that run that we just talked about to 80K, maybe even 90K. Maybe even we'll have like a little fake out above the 200-week EMA there. But I just wanted to kind of point that out on the NASDAQ. And then on the daily, it's kind of the same. Granted, we have this, obviously very red bearish cloud here that we're entering and trying to wick out of. So it's a little bit of a different story on the daily, but all in all, I think the NASDAQ could flip bullish here. We could break out of the cloud here, could enter this resistance, could break out of this resistance. thus sending maybe risk on assets into a pseudo bull run, if you will, or a bullish movement there. But all in all, that's my take on Bitcoin and the NASDAQ. But I do want to point out some other stuff I was looking at. So I know I shared Deepin Alpha on here. I'm just going to share two bits of alpha very, very quickly on Deepin specifically. So, or sorry, 3 bits of alpha. Sorry, bits of wealth here. Wealth of bits. I'm going to go inverse on that. A wealth of bits of information from me. But anyways, Helium. I'll share this page really fast as I find the page, the thing they shared. Helium had a lot of growth recently. They've been just crushing it. Honestly, March 16th, I think let me share my screen here. They they hit like 3.5 daily users on like average pretty much now, which is a 500,000 cell phone increase, which is incredible. They recently just released this blog. So I don't know if anyone's familiar with Okeechobee Music Festival. I've actually been here several times. I've gone to this same festival, probably was 2017, 2018. And the phone service out there is god awful. It's terrible. It literally sucks. You're in the middle of a farm next to Lake Okeechobee. It's just awful. But these guys decided to provide their own backhaul. They installed 13 Helium hotspots, and they had 2 terabytes transferred, 9,500 users, so people connected to the Helium network and interacted with crypto who might have not otherwise interacted with crypto ever in their lives. And so they got a service, they got better cell phone service, and AT&T and T-Mobile paid for that. They paid Helium for that service. So I just thought that was amazing. Like, these guys made a good chunk of change on doing this over the course of 4 days. So I thought that was pretty bullish. Again, just more usage coming out of Deepin. Very, very bullish metrics coming out of Deepin. Obviously, token price is not the same as that. Token price doing awful. A couple of TGEs to look out for, guys, in the Deepin space. We have Wingbits coming out April 22nd. I'm very, very bullish on this specific Deepin. They do flight tracking, which you wouldn't imagine has a lot of value, but it is a service that is desperately needed. There's not a lot of ways to get accurate flight information. Like, you think these giant towers have all the tools in the world, and they don't. And they actually utilize a lot of different aeronautical like companies. They utilize this data. They spend like millions, if not billions of dollars on this data. And so these guys are TGing on April 22nd. I'm definitely keeping my eyes out for them. And then you have Daba Network also TGing next week, actually on April 15th.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
Finally.
Daba Network. Yeah, finally, right? Daba Network's TGing April 15th. They've gotten a lot of usage out of their network as well. Honestly, I work with these guys pretty closely, and they're a great team, very bullish on them. They have a ton of people using their network currently, and they're generating a substantial amount of revenue. So excited to see what happens with that token. But yeah, just keep an eye out for the Wingbits as well as Daba Network guys. I think 2 should be pretty interesting. We'll see what happens on their TGEs. And then obviously you had the bullish news about Helium. I could probably talk about Deepin all day long. And so I'm just going to shut up there and kind of give you guys back the mic. There you go.
I should get paid a royalty every time someone uses bits in their products or services. Yeah. Well, I don't even care about the conversation, but at least in the brands and the names of the products.
Yeah. Maybe you want to trademark it, bits. If you trademark it, then you can go after them.
Maybe we need to, but no, good stuff, William. William, my favorite Scratchy Moku analyst. I like to call it Scratchy Moku. Every time you say Ichimoku, I think of Itchy, like Itchy and Scratchy. You know,
I honestly, dude, I love Ichimoku so much. I love it so much. It's such a great like trend analysis tool. You know, it just gives you the rundown very fast. I'll share my screen again. I accidentally pressed the X.
I know a lot of gold futures traders who use that trade like pretty much primarily gold futures, and they use Ichimoku.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, again, I use it for my spot trading portfolio. I don't necessarily use it for scalping. I have a different strategy for scalping altogether. I typically use like EMAs and VWAP for when I scalp. But when I'm doing like long-term trend analysis, I always use Ichimoku. I'm always like referencing it, figuring out where we're at in the movement. And if I'm going to start allocating to my spot bags again, I definitely use Ichimoku 100%. I'm like, okay, like, is this a good place to buy? When should I be, gearing up and adding more to my position, as opposed to maybe pulling back, scaling back the DCAing and saying, wait a minute, like back here on Bitcoin, like, what is it? We had this massive run up, And then when we started kind of running into all of this like mess here, like this is crazy mess back here, I basically stopped buying. I stopped buying like all the way back here, honestly. And I was like, okay, like this is not, this is kind of concerning. We're tracing in and out of the cloud, And I was like, I want to see bullish movements above the cloud, like certifiable bullish movements above the cloud. And we just we stopped getting those. And I was like, okay, well, this is a terrible spot to allocate. Then I'm just going to chill. And back here, obviously, if you waited, like if you guys just waited and the people who are using Ichimoku just waited, you catch these insane moves. Like you get this massive rip, like break of the cloud. And then you get like a bunch of different confirmations like from that as well. Like you break above the 200-week EMA, your lagging spans breaking out of the cloud as well. Like all this is telling you, hey, go long, dude. And if you did, like what, that's 93,000. Bam, you're in at a great price right there. Just one fat spot position right there. And you did a great job if you sold, at that like 115, 120.
William, I do have a question for you.
What's up?
Yeah, on BTC, do you see the possibility of us going to like, let's say 94K if Nasdaq or the equities make new highs?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely possible. Again, if you have a breakout here, if you have a breakout here, like, I mean, that's 83,000 on the 200-week EMA. I definitely could see us finding some new territory, possibly kind of going into uncharted territory and saying, okay, like, where are we going? 96K is the previous resistance here. So I think that's completely possible. I mean, it falls in line with the weekly too. I mean, if you look at the weekly, like right here, where's 90? This is 88K right here is the previous baseline right here. And if we reach if we reach 86 anytime soon, anytime within the next, what is it? Let's do a daily analysis here where that red cloud is. If we reach that in the next like 112 days, then I think it's possible we could definitely rip to like 96. I mean, because that you'd be in this pocket here on Ichimoku. You'd be perfectly lined up in this pocket right here, where there's like the cloud isn't formed at all. But you still have, again, this cloud to break through is the problem. Like you still have this cloud just looking at you in the face and going, yo, listen, like this is a massive resistance. Like you need to chill. But yeah, anywhere in the 96 to 100K range is completely possible. I could see that happening.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, William. Great takes there and great back and forth, Nat and William. I see, Price, you have your charts up. Take it away, my friend.
Dang it, Lady Trader. We missed an opportunity. I was going to chime in before you spoke. I was going to say, and that wraps it up, guys. No, I was going to say that wraps it up. Thanks for coming.
You find yourself hilarious, don't you, Matt?
You find me hilarious.
Yeah, you're a funny guy. Funny guy. Seriously, though, Bits, come on, man. Jump on ARCs, man. We need one other person for 3-on-3. You know what I mean? So
I'll think about it.
I think you already have it and you're over there like practicing, right? You're like, oh, I'm going to practice a bunch before, I let them know that I have it. Is that what's been going on?
No, that's not what's been going on. I'm gonna channel. No, look, if we jump in, I'm just gonna channel like some old Fortnite skills that I may or may not have, and it's probably like riding a bike. Maybe just kind of comes back to you.
It may or may not work.
It does, man. Yeah. It does come back to you, and I'll help you out. We'll rage together. We'll kill together. It'll be so much fun.
We need to do some fades. Like if Will, if you wouldn't mind running some fades against me, like
I can do that.
The shooter, the shooter's way like I'm an old Counter-Strike player. I used to play like Cal Invite and all that stuff way back in the day. So I was beast mode at that, but this is definitely a different kind of shooter than that, right? But still, the principle's the same as far as like angles, peeking. Bait and frag, all of that. So
yeah, exactly.
Real quick, it's just before you get into more practice. But
before you
go
get
on.
into the price action, I was going to say, Bitcoin Magazine just tweeted out 4 minutes ago that investment bank giant TD Cowen, so the guys behind TD Ameritrade, they predict Bitcoin to hit 140K this year and have issued buy ratings for BTC treasury companies. So I just thought that was interesting. We're still at that phase in the market where people are going to be just like throwing out predictions like that. So I just wanted to point that out. But go ahead, Bad Price.
Yeah, no, that's funny.
All right.
So 3-day. I'm going to start at the 3-day because 3-day looks pretty good. Obviously, we're right here testing this weekly resistance zone that I've had and has yet to break, right? Like we've come over it a couple times, or once got rejected. So really wasn't able to kind of break through it. But you know what they say, the more you knock on the door. Again, though, disclaimer, last time we were down here, I was like, yo, man, we've tested, like this weekly support zone like several times now. Maybe we'll get, we might break down, right? Didn't happen. So now here we are back towards the top of the range. So overall, not much has changed, right? Just still playing the range, right? Like anytime price is kind of under the value area low, looking at my indicators, looking, lower time frames, all of that for entries to go long. Anytime we're over the value area high, same thing. I'm looking to short. Now, because of the way I play that, like if I'm long down here, right, once we start breaking above here, I'm starting, I'm taking profits on my long, but I'm also leaving a runner and I'm hedging. I'm hedging short. When the long gets fully stopped out, I'm going to be adding to my short. And then I do the reverse. Once we come back down here, I'm taking profits on the short and I'm starting to hedge long again, right? Short gets stopped out. I add to the long. So here we are. I've taken profits on this long. I do have a hedge short on. If we kind of break over this weekly resistance zone, it will more than likely get stopped out, which I'm completely okay with. Because right now, like in all honesty, the 3-day looks really good. Momentum's just kind of been printing a series of higher lows, right? VWAP looks good. RSI's turning up. Money flow doesn't look bad at all. Starting to come up. It looks pretty flushed out. We did get pretty deep on it. Trend wave kind of confirming all of that. Stochastic, all of that. Everything's kind of pointing in the direction that you'd want for alongside price action. Not saying that we could reject and just come right back down again. That's definitely always a possibility, right? Like cut it down to 2-day, just kind of shows you a bit better. Like, yeah, okay, everything's looking good. Everything's firing on all cylinders here. Daily is kind of where it gets interesting, right? RSI starting to heat up some. Looking for this VWAP. It's already starting to kind of curve. Looking for it to kind of curve and just a continuation on momentum, right? Like whenever I see this kind of pattern down here, right? Like this kind of wave that follows a deep momentum wave that prints kind of like a series of higher lows and then comes back down, boom, prints what we call like the trigger wave, right? Or as Crank's homeboy Jason Casper likes to say, those uneven butt cheeks, because it looks like an uneven butt cheek right here, right? Like I think that's the best phrase for it because it kind of does and it's easy to spot. And these always do very well. Like in my experience, these kind of like patterns on momentum usually play out pretty well. So keeping an eye on this momentum wave to see if it starts rounding off. And it kind of doesn't look like that's going to happen. It looks like it's kind of just getting started. So, just looking to see if we can't,
looks like it wants
if
to
we
go
can't
higher,
break.
right before it runs
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. It looks like it wants to go higher. Look, hopefully, we can break past the previous one because what I wouldn't want to see is for it to come up some and then start kind of rounding off and print a lower high. That's what I want to see this previous high kind of get broken as far as like momentum goes. Still though, okay, one other thing. I've been talking about like this 80K kind of area for a minute. And if we look at futures, there's confluence up there too. One is the area we kind of broke down out of, right, from the previous range is where we really broke down. And when we broke down in a gap, right? So even if you just go from wick to wick, you can kind of see the gap. If you go from candle body to candle body, obviously the gap's way higher. But there's a lot of confluence up here on why I think this area would at least get tested, right? Like, yeah, maybe we could, fill half this wick here, whatever, then get rejected. But this is definitely an area I've been targeting. I've been looking at for a minute. It just makes sense that we run up and test that area. And, depending on how things look, if price action can get up there, it's definitely an area that I would be looking to kind of short with a bit more size. Because lately I've just been, trading real small, taking profits, as much as I pretty much can. I've just been hedging a lot, obviously, just trying to keep my risk curve as low as I can because of the overall geopolitical environment we're in. This has been a real headline driven kind of market. And I, really don't like that kind of market conditions. So I just tend to kind of trade smaller and all of that. And plus, it's kind of hard to be shorting with size, after we've come down the way we've come down, right? Like, obviously, I'd want to be shorting with size at higher prices. So hopefully we can get this run that will give us that opportunity to be able to get in on some of these shorts with some size. But like, I saw people kind of busting some fibs earlier. And it's like, all right, let's bust some fibs real quick. So, everyone's probably like looked at like this one, right? Like, okay, price came down right into the golden pocket, kind of took off. But one thing lots of people don't look at is the flip side for the short side, right? So if we just go from swing high, swing low, you see, we fought in the golden pocket. I use a 0.666 for the golden pocket, by the way. Anyway, we kind of fought in that area, right? But, the way it was looking, it's like, okay, I think we're going to push at least up to the 786. And it just shows that there's kind of confluence here, right? Just like with the golden pocket down here, had a weekly support zone, the value area low, and there was a golden pocket down here. So there was a lot of confluence, right? Kind of the same up here, weekly resistance zone, 0.786 right there. There's some confluence. So just an area to look out for. This is obviously the first kind of area I'm looking at to see if we can't break it. The weekend, the volume really isn't what I'd like it to be, obviously, and going into the weekend, a lot of times during the weekend, we see like light volume, all of that. It's definitely easier to push price around and, over the weekend, low volume conditions and all of that. It's definitely easier to kind of push price around. So just something to be aware of. I think we could see, there's a possibility we could see like a pullback, right? Like just go down to really low time frames, might see that, okay, we could fade some, right? Like I know Crank brought up like around this point of control kind of area, right? Like 60, the high 68, 69. Maybe even just come down and test like, this value area high or something like that. And then, I think we could possibly see a run through the weekend, maybe even a bit of follow through on Monday, then Tuesday, maybe come down and, turn around Tuesday, come back down. And if that all plays out, like if we can break through this, if we do get a run through the weekend, anything like that, then I'm just looking at this resistance zone and, seeing if it holds on any kind of pullback. You know what I mean? If that happens, if we get a pullback and it holds, then I think we could be good to go to see that 80K area finally get tested. Another thing, like looking at DBSI, which is kind of just an indicator where if you were to go around and like take a vote from a bunch of different indicators, you know, it kind of gives you the tally, if you will. And yeah, on the daily, you know, the bulls are kind of gaining some strength, which is good to see. You know, if you want to see some higher prices, it's good to see. The bears, you know, really have been dominant here. You know, got a bit weaker. And again, bulls are now, you know, behind the steering wheel. So let's see how that goes. But if you go up to the obviously higher time frames, right? Still like the bears. The bears are still in control. Bears are in control and have been gaining strength. So 2 week, same thing, bears. Weekly, you know, really paints the picture just like bears all the way down, right? They are getting a bit weaker, like, you know, depending how this closes, this weekly closes, we went from a 31 to a 26. So yeah, bulls, you know, gaining some strength here, but overall, higher time frames, bears still in control. Lower time frames, we're seeing some bulls make a bit of a comeback. So that's why it kind of paints that picture to me of like, okay, yeah, we could see a run up here, right? And just looking at this, just the structure wise, like, you know, a fade before we go higher definitely makes sense. So pullback definitely makes sense, right? So if you're looking to long or anything like that, I wouldn't really be long in here. I'd be kind of chilling and waiting for a pullback, see if it happens. You know, we do have this structure point around the point of control. If it doesn't happen, then, you know, no big deal. Just chill and wait for the next trade. Yeah. So overall, that's just kind of like, yeah, where I'm at. You know, still in a range. Like nothing's really changed. Yeah, really haven't seen the momentum requirements or momentum volume. You know, all of those kind of requirements we really haven't seen in quite some time. Like when you really look at institutional buying, you know, you want to see momentum, volume, and price, like price up so many days over the past so many days, right? And yeah, you know, like they say, MVP, right? Yeah, momentum, volume, price. And we really haven't seen that in quite a while, even on like on these lower time frames. Like if I'm on the 4 hour, even go back to the hour, yeah, like it was all the way, the hourly showed it. Yeah, you see, momentum and volume requirements met. Price up 12 of the past 15 days. Volume has increased over the past 15 days by 20%. So last time that flashed was back, you know, in February. Yeah. And, you know, that's on the 1 hour. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, yeah, it just, you know, it just hasn't really been there. But again, you know, that is also easier to push price around when, you know, you don't. Yeah, right. Exactly. So just something I'm looking at for the weekend. You know what I mean? Yeah. Look, a bit of a pullback and maybe some follow through to the upside is kind of my overall thesis right now.
My thesis has just changed to bearish looking at the charts right now. Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, thank you. But it's a bad price. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's always is that possibility. Like when we were back down here, it's like, okay, look, we've knocked on this door a lot now. Maybe we'll break through, right? Like, there's always a possibility. Like, okay, we're overextended to the top of the range now. That we just come right back down to the bottom of the range again. yeah, it's just kind of hard. When it looks the way it looks right now, like if you notice last time we were up here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Momentum was on the top side, already rounding off and crossing over back to the downside. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, again, last time we were up here, pretty much same thing. Momentum was rounding off, all of that. Momentum doesn't look like it's rounding off to me quite yet. Of course, that can change. So
Yeah.
definitely keeping an eye on it, but it's just hard for me to really be like super bearish right now, I guess.
Yeah, I understand that.
We'll see what happens. That again, this is why I hedge though. Once we start getting overextended in either direction, right? I'll
Yeah.
hedge against the play that I have open in case I am wrong and we start making a trip back down, right? My longs
Yep.
get fully stopped out, and yeah, my shorts print, and I might even add to them. So that's why I play it the way I play it. That's also why I love these ranges, right?
Yeah.
I
Yep.
love playing the range. So
A really good bit of knowledge there, Bad Price.
Yep. Really good.
yeah,
bit of
was it
knowledge.
was a good bit
Sorry,
of knowledge.
don't sue me, Bits. Don't sue me. I'm gonna keep riffing, dude. I'm gonna keep riffing off the bits.
See, we
It's
can use it all the time, and since he doesn't have it trademarked, it doesn't matter.
Just let me do my bit, if you know what I mean.
Well, I'm gonna go over my bit of setups here, so I'm gonna share my screen.
There you go. I bet it's a really good bit.
It is. It is. All right. I'll go ahead and bring up my chart here. So
much
looking
free
at-
advertisement for me.
Free-
So
free
much free
advertisement.
yeah.
I'm just waiting for like a cease and desist letter from his lawyer. Like hit
I
my
know.
email.
Goodness. Cease and
Yeah,
desist letter.
they beat that bit to death.
Yeah.
Don't.
Goodness. I have stories to tell about that. I wrote a review at one point for a business, and they tried to send me a cease and desist letter, and it was just like a very crazy bullying letter. And I'm like, yeah, go ahead. Like, let's go to the court. We'll fight it out over there.
You just shoot him a DM and you just put no. You just put no.
Yeah.
I'm good.
I said, I'm not deleting that. Let's go fight it in the
You just
court.
put
then.
GG's in the chat. GG's.
Yeah. And then it was basically, then the tone changed very quickly. Well, what could we do to make it up for you? And, all of that. I'm like, all right, no, my review is not going anywhere. But yeah, that happens. So I'm looking at the chart right now. A few things that I'm looking at. First of all, 4 hour. I want to see how this closes. This is going to be a key factor because it is sort of creating this, 1, 2, 3, and then usually the third push can be the top. So if it comes down, it has to come down pretty fast, right? And actually hold this level and gain some momentum, because it could easily like have a breakout. So if it was to break out from here, we are definitely looking to go higher. But this is closing in an hour and 30 minutes. I'm also looking, so I did actually take a small foot soldier right here, because remember, this is the area that I've been talking about, because there was a ton of liquidity up right here. Also makes sense because a lot of people who sold at 70K, they have their stop losses there. So whenever I'm looking to take entries, those are tiny positions right now, and I'm going to add to them as they confirm. So we'll see if this one does anything. But I'm looking at it, right? We are going into the weekend, and so Fridays sometimes either mark the top or they mark the bottom. So I'll be watching for that. But 4 hour close is what I'm really watching for, because you could argue that, hey, this is a breakout, like, very clear breakout pattern. Yes, I could see that as well. But it could also hold this level, especially around this time, right? 11:30 a.m. PST. Lots of times we see, around the time that US market closes, we see a top or a bottom forming. So there is that. The other thing that I see here is on M15. So we see the first move, the second move, and also the third move here. So there is a possibility that this could be it, right? I mean, it really depends on a lot of factors. There wasn't much of a stop hunt above this level. So, and then there's also a rejection off of this one, right? A very significant reaction on a smaller time frame once the price got there, because the amount of liquidity that was sitting at these levels. The only concerning thing is that there is definitely another level up here, like 73.4, and a little bit above that as well, which had some good amount of liquidity that I was watching. So there is that, but definitely watching to see how this one plays out. Hourly also, it's consolidating at this level. And so this one, a lot of times what I've seen is it will throw something like this just to kind of turn around things and hitting the stop losses of everybody who bought here. So there's all of those factors at play. But 4-hour chart is what's gonna either keep me in the trade, or we'll see how it one plays out. But these are gonna be like whenever I'm going in with a smaller position. Of course, I'm managing it and keeping the risk very, very tiny initially, because we are not seeing any significant follow through, right? But 4-hour candle is really what I'm watching and seeing how this one closes. If this one to actually come back and close somewhere here, that means that was basically it. The top was in for the weekend, and then we can start looking for more opportunities. The other thing I want to bring up is the daily chart. This price action here, right? You had basically a nice little rejection off of this level, and then price came back and retested the 50 EMA and actually found support off of it. That could also be seen as a bullish move. So there is that, but we'll have to see. Like it will have to come back very aggressively today and actually close under it. If it was to happen, like if it comes back very aggressively down and closes under 50 EMA, then we could potentially look for opportunities to add to the short positions. And so we'll have to see how this one plays out. The other thing, though, let's say that we don't come down aggressively here, and we basically just hang out. Then, of course, over the weekend, especially low liquidity hours, those are times to look for basically a dip to see if there is opportunity, right? So aggressive move down, creating a nice little format, a little pattern, and then we buy those opportunities. So that's going to be the play over the weekend. So we'll see how this one plays out. Now, one thing that I also want to bring up when we talk about BTC are these yearly fib levels, because we've been kind of talking about potentially targeting some of the upside. Remember, even if it is to kind of form a top, you can start asking, where does it go next, right? Is it going to come back down, create a bottom, and then we move to the upside because there's a lot of liquidity there, or is it done? Like, those are going to be the questions, right? And I'm holding on to the opinion that we are probably not done yet. I think we could potentially make a little bit of the move higher. But again, overall, I'm super bearish until the end of the year. You guys know that. So any pumps we get are just opportunities for me to short. Now, the other thing I want to bring up, of course, is the weekly. Is going to be a key. So how does the weekly candle close? I mean, if it does come back down and it closes red, I mean, we are potentially looking at very aggressive.
We're in trouble if that happens.
We are in
right?
trouble. Yes, absolutely. Big, big, big trouble if that was to happen. So we need to be watching for that and seeing if that one happens, right? Yeah, because as it is right now, if it closes green, we are right. We are good. We are good to go. We can buy and then expect a move higher. That's basically how it is. That's because it is a nice little pattern. Like, you could argue this is like a nice little W pattern, and a too clean of a W, right? Which means trouble comes later, but it can hold temporarily. So there's that. But since we were talking about the upside and where we could potentially target, remember we were talking about this 800 EMA. The other one to remember is the 78K is a major level as well. These are yearly fibs that I threw, and they've been holding really, really well, as you can see. Like, this was actually a 0.5 fib level where we found the bottom, and we retested, and it held multiple times, like twice already. And so this is a level that we could potentially target, and maybe it will hold. And by then, maybe this will catch up as well, right? Because these are moving averages; they move, and so we'll just have to see how these play out. But these are good levels. So I'm watching the price to be between these two levels. I don't think we're going to go at this level. I don't think we're going there. And so these two, this is going to be the range, and this range was identified first week of February. We are still in it. It's April and we are still in the range. You can go back and look at my video from February 9th. That range was identified in that. So we'll just have to see how this one plays out. Let's see. This one, it still hasn't confirmed. Once it closes below, then there will be a confirmation for it. So we need a lot of momentum for this to crash if we want this one to work out as well. But yeah, keep an eye on these levels, right? This is going to be a good level that I'm going to be watching, and then of course it could go up to 800 EMA as well, close to 80K. But this is a good level too, like, because a lot of people will be waiting for 80K, so they either won't short or, you know, basically they'll have a lot of opportunities there, a lot of stop positions, right, or trigger position, trigger orders, but maybe the price doesn't even go there. Maybe it just bottoms out, tops out here at 78. So this is a level that I'm going to be keeping a very, very close eye on. So really, that's all I have for today.
Lady Trader, I
Yes.
can see a scenario in which we do just top out at 80K and like leave everyone that's looking for that 80. We
Yeah.
top out at 78 and leave everyone that's looking for that 80 kind of hanging.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it could go either way, right? Because you're going to have a ton of people that are going to be shorting at 80K. That's going to be a fact, which means where are those stop losses going to be? So are you telling me we're going to go hit 80K and then give everybody beautiful profits so easily?
Right.
That doesn't happen, right? We were talking about it even when we
Yeah.
were in 70K. We were like, hey, you're telling me that you're just gonna hit 70K and boom, this is it. You're gonna give me easy profits to 60K. Like, no, that's not gonna happen. So
Yeah, I agree with that. That's my issue with 80K, right? And I mentioned it before. My problem with 80K is everyone's looking at that area to short.
exactly. So now maybe the markets leave them alone. I mean, I've seen it in the past where, we created a top and price came down, but it didn't hit exactly the target that we were looking at. This was prime example. Everybody was like 100K, 100K. And, it never hit 100K. It basically just topped out here at 97, 98K. And so is that going to be the case this time as well, where we go to 78K, it misses out us by, a couple of thousand? Makes perfect sense to me. So we'll just have to see how this one plays out.
We're definitely going to 100K this time, Lady Trader. Trust your gut. All right, trust CT. We're going to the moon. All right, we're going to
Going to
180,
the
even 200K this
Yeah.
cycle.
Dude, I was just about to say that 200,000 or bust.
No,
Okay.
200 million. Nah, 200 million is what I was talking about. Okay, you got to think big. Yeah, get those numbers up. Think big.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Markets never will give you easy money like that, right? Where people are like, oh, it's gonna go to $1 million. Bitcoin is gonna go to $1 million this year. It's like, no, it's not. Especially like those people who believe in Bitcoin also believe that there is an effort to manipulate the price. There's an effort to stop people from making easy money. I mean, it's there. So why would it go to $1 million and give you that easy money? It's not going to give you that easy money. It's going to take the money from you, and then it's going to take all of your Bitcoin first, and then it's going to make it move higher to $1 million, and you will be buying it at 600 and 700K. You won't be able to get a lot of it, but you will still get it, and then they're going to sell it on you at $1 million. So you just have to think of it a little bit more strategically on how the markets work. So, but yeah, that's all I have for today. We'll see how things play out again over the weekend. If this was the top, I mean, we could potentially see 2 days of choppy price action. I would like for price to move away from this area, either to the upside or to the downside. So this is going to be a breakout level, right? So if we get above 73.3, this is a nice breakout level. It's just that it's weekend and low liquidity. So that's going to be interesting. Another thing I'm noticing, though, I don't know if you guys have noticed it too, like during the week, we are not seeing a lot of price action during peak times. Like we saw this move, but it was also like during gap time. Low liquidity time is when it's easy to kind of manipulate the price through the order books. And we are seeing these kind of moves during low liquidity hours. So not like a ton of organic liquidity hours, high liquidity hours that are giving you any meaningful price action. So we'll see how this weekend plays out. But yeah, that's really all I have. I'm going to stop sharing and we'll get some final thoughts and comments from everybody. Price, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Look, like I said earlier, I would definitely advise to keep your risk curve, on the low side as much as possible. Hedge any chance you get. Keep your sizing small. And of course, it's been a few FOMO Fridays since I mentioned OPSEC, especially in the crypto space. You're going to want to make sure you use burner laptops. Make sure you're on, clean your computer constantly. Um, yeah, just anytime you're clicking any link or, trying anything new out, you use a burner laptop and a burner wallet, right? Like, don't connect with your actual wallet if you've never used it before, right? Try it out with a burner. So, like I've talked in the past, I don't even like use other people's charging cords or chargers out in public for my phone, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, yeah, because I'm like, that paranoid. But if you've ever been drained, especially for a decent chunk of change, you'll be paranoid too. So it happens. It happens to the best of us in this space. It's almost like a rite of passage to get like hacked or, wallet drained, target attack, anything like that. It sucks. It's the worst rite of passage ever. So with that said, make sure your OPSEC is good. Stay on point. It is such a pain in the butt, but it's so worth it. Any new projects, anything, don't like go through Google or anything like that. Like go to X, look at, their page, see if they have other people, that are following them. Does it all make sense, right? Do they have that yellow or gold check mark or, by their project's name, whatever. If it all checks out, use the link that they have on X, right? Yeah. So, and even then, still do it through like a burner laptop the first time you connect. So you can never be too careful.
Go buy a track phone. Go buy a track phone from Dollar General and go use that instead.
Yeah, there you go. Because crime's like, pretty much legal in crypto right now, or has been forever,
as evidenced by our president.
Yeah. So yeah. Just be careful, man.
Yeah, I mean, OPSEC, we can't emphasize enough on this, Price, and I appreciate you bringing it up because we often forget about it. And when you say, rite of passage, I mean, it scares the heck out of me because I haven't been hacked. I have bought like a malicious contract at one point back in 2021. It was just basically, how a token is launching and somebody DMs you. And it wasn't much. It wasn't much money at all. But I basically bought the wrong contract for the same coin. It was...
Oh yeah. No, that's happened to me too before. I've done that too, but I'm like, oops. Oh well. That's another thing too, is like when doing buys like that.
Yes.
Same thing with me. It wasn't for a lot of money because I always do like a test run, right? Like a test buy or something, right?
Exactly.
Just to make sure I got everything right. Same with moving money across, the blockchain. I'm sure everybody does this and it goes without saying, but yeah, send a little tester first just to make sure everything works right. You know what I'm saying? Didn't what's his name? He used to have him on all the time. I haven't heard from him in a while. He has a real distinct voice too.
Colombo?
He got Colombo. Yeah.
He lost $2 million or $1.5 million. Yes.
Yeah.
It was a big amount for him. Yes.
Yeah, you see, like, and I guarantee you,
that's nothing.
He is paranoid. After that happened, okay, big baller over there. Dude,
that's nothing. Like, try losing $20. All right, try getting robbed for $20 at a gas station. All right.
Yeah, over $1 million. That's jet fuel for the weekend. Yeah, I guarantee you, he's like, paranoid now, right? Like,
yep, absolutely.
Which is a good thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And that is scary to me because I haven't been hacked yet. And so I am always on the watch out, like always looking out and making sure that I'm not doing something stupid, not like clicking on random links. I'd actually not like too long ago, but it was somebody I knew sent me a link on Telegram. It was like a news article or something. And I just basically clicked on it and read it. And then it occurred to me, it was like a good link, but I was like, what the heck did I just do? What if it was hiding? You know how like sometimes they put like a separate link, so the display text will be different from the actual link that's underneath it. And like this could have been like a hack attempt. It could have been like somebody hacking my friend and then me clicking, and I was like, that was so wrong. Like you can't do these things. Thankfully there was, nothing happened, but it kind of hit me like, okay, how carelessly I just clicked on it because a friend sent me a news article. Like you don't even
Yeah,
look,
you got to be
it doesn't look
careful.
good, right? Yeah, because the
Yeah,
display.
you got to be careful with it all.
Exactly. So like any link, it's bad. And I do have like I have so many different laptops. My husband always asks like, why do you have so many laptops? It's like, yeah, I have to have different laptops. I have to have multiple burner laptops. But yeah, thank you, Price. Appreciate that take. Any final thoughts or comments from you, Ned?
How many people voted on that? Sorry to
Just
interrupt
one.
real quick. Bits, how many people voted on that?
I didn't
Seems
see
like just one person. Hey, if you're watching, help
Okay.
us. Like we're just testing out these polls. If you type a 1 for bullish or a 2 for bearish in the chat, let's see if these numbers are still active and working. So it's supposed to work on all platforms. This thing is supposed to be like picking it up somehow. So yeah, go in the chat. If you're on YouTube, type a 1 or a 2. If you're on X, type a 1 or a 2. And let's see if these numbers update here for this poll. Oh shoot, you can edit the position. Okay, I found it. All right. Cool.
I
Well,
typed
let
in
us
a
know.
2. I typed in a 2. Let's see if it pops up.
Well, it's 100%. That's the problem. So it's like we need someone to put a 1 to see if it works.
All right, fine. I'll
You know what I'm
just ping the
saying? Like,
1 here.
I'm
I'll put 1 in the chat.
We need someone to. There it
okay.
is.
Okay. Yeah, it worked. Okay.
All right.
So it does work.
My 2 didn't pop up. That's so weird. I put a 2 first. That didn't pop up, and now the
Yeah.
1 did. I guess the chat doesn't like me.
I don't
1,
know.
2.
But that is cool. We can run some polls on the streams now, and yeah.
No,
Do love me a good poll. Good, love me a good poll.
Okay. All right. Any final thoughts or comments from you, Nat?
Yes, someone did send me a DM, and thanks for the DM. They couldn't really understand the difference between the three layers from the liquidity that we were showing. So the left side would be, in layman's terms, the bid. The right side would be the ask, right? On the liquidity, bid side liquidity, ask side liquidity, and in the middle would be like the order depth. Not sure if that would um, clarify that, but I'll go ahead and respond to the DM real quick and go more in details if needed. Besides that, guys, great stream. 73K seems to be like a big area here. We keep rejecting, so that's very interesting. I could see us, like you said, possibly going lower here if we continue to reject here.
Yeah.
But that's
Although
basically
it's
it for me.
chopping though. Yeah, thank you. It's
Yeah.
kind of chopping now. So maybe it will like break to the upside. I don't know. It's not looking like it didn't have the kind of reaction that I was looking for here. And so we'll just have to watch it a little bit more cautiously here.
Yeah, we do.
All right. Let's see, William, any final thoughts or comments from you?
Yeah, I got some things to say, just want to echo Bad Price's his comment about OPSEC. I think it's extremely important. I'll also add on your actual physical security, guys. I cannot stress enough that your privacy, your sense of security can be taken away so quickly and so easily, and it's kind of scary. I mean, this is coming from a victim of someone who has been broken into before. Like I had to like scare off the people that broke into my house. Like, it gets kind of crazy. So make sure your doors are locked. Make sure, I don't know if you live in a place that you're allowed to have a gun, but I highly recommend getting one if you do or if you can. I highly recommend those things. Obviously, just be very, very self-aware of your surroundings. Very, very aware of your surroundings. Protect your family, protect your assets. I think those are extremely, extremely important. So want to stress that firstly. Secondly, just comments on the market. I think, just kind of summarize what we all said, or kind of get it to the point. There is that we're not out of the woods yet. I would say, this is a nice pump we're seeing, but we're still in that channel, guys. There's still a lot of bearish things going on, geopolitical wise, as well as economic wise. You have a lot of markets blowing up, like the private credit market. You have unemployment rising. You have inflation very high as well still, and so we're kind of having a lot of these points meet where a recession might be nearby. A recession might be in the near future. So recession does equal opportunity if you're holding on to cash. So I highly recommend having a substantial amount of cash. At least maybe 20 or 30% of your portfolio should be in cash. That's my personal opinion. That's usually what I keep my portfolio at, is about 30% cash, just so I can take advantage of any massive dips. So I highly recommend doing the same if you have not already. And then, just keeping an eye out, catching these moves, and watching FOMO Friday, of course, to catch those moves. The third thing I'll say, just to end things off here, would be just pay attention to the deep in space, guys. The deep in space is really blowing up right now. I mean, granted, if you look at just tokens for success metrics, you're going to think deep in is dead. A lot of people think deep in is dead right now. You're looking at the wrong metric, though. Like, that is not the metric you should be looking at. You should be looking at how many customers are they getting? Is revenue increasing? Those are the meaningful things, because that's how they'll survive. That's how these teams and projects will survive, the things they built. Like GeoNet, for instance. GeoNet is an amazing deep in. Their revenue is set to hit like $20 million this year. They had like 500K in revenue 2 years ago. And so that is a massive, massive amount of growth. But if you look at their token, you wouldn't even be able to tell. Their token's at 13 cents right now. All-time high was like 30 cents. And so people just look at tokens and go, oh, that is the main success metric I'm going to judge this project on. That should not be the case for real businesses building real products that have real services, real infrastructure in the crypto space. So I highly implore you to do some research on some deep in projects, get involved with them. There's plenty of revenue to be made. I'm installing Helium hotspots all the time. I have a new hotspot possibly being installed this week at a gym, hoping that will net me some decent revenue. But there's so much opportunity in the deep in space, guys. So if you want to learn more, just make sure you follow the Wolf Crypto page. Make sure you follow my personal page as well. I do post a lot of deep in content on there. That's William Ross X _. I can share my screen really fast. I have my page pulled up here. Where did I put that? Actually, here we go. But yeah, it's there's so much deep in alpha. I want to do another show with Lady Trader on any kind of like deep in updates happening, some education about deep ins as well. But yeah, that's my personal page right there. You can follow that. You can follow Wolf Crypto as well. That's Wolf _crypto _X. And you can catch me on all those spaces talking about deep in as well. But yeah, really appreciate the show. Everyone enjoy your weekend. Like I said, hit me up. Shoot me a DM. Feel free to shoot me a DM if you want to learn about deep in. My DMs are open, guys. You can hit me up, and I'm more than happy to talk shop, hop on a call with you. I will guide you through this whole mess, this whole storm, if you will. So just hit me up
and jump in ARC.
Exactly, and jump on ARC Raiders with Bad Price, Bits, and myself. We will show you the way, guys. We will show you the way. Hopefully, we can hop on tonight, Bad Price. That'd be great. But that's it for me.
Let's go Trader. Goop. Let's get that goop, baby.
Let's get the goop. I'm gonna throw it back to you. Yes.
If you
thank
guys
so much.
need a Ninja Turtle bicycle with some pink wheels, please let me know. And I know I said that last time.
Yeah, I told you we'll take it. We'll roll around.
Oh, that's
we'll
right.
roll around
Okay.
on it. Yeah, absolutely. Hell yeah.
I got you.
So you guys all heard what William said, right? Cash him outside. How about that? Let's do that.
I definitely said that. I 100% said that.
All right. Thank you so much, William. Appreciate that. And yeah, we definitely are overdue for another deep in discussion. And yeah, let's go to Bits of Wealth. Let's get some final thoughts or comments from you, Bits.
Well, truthfully, I really don't have much to add. It was a great space. I think a lot of great takes were given, and yeah, it was good. It was a good one. Missed last week, so it's a little bit of a catch up here for me with the FOMO Friday crew. But yeah, not much to add. Let's see what happens. BTC key area going into weekend. Anything goes.
Anything goes. Yeah, 4-hour close is definitely going to be an important indication as well, and then the weekly close coming up this weekend as well. Yeah. All right, well, thanks everybody for joining. We'll have another FOMO Friday next week, And yeah, we'll be back again with more streams. Make sure that you're following everybody. Bits of Wealth is also doing streams pretty much every single day, also on his page. So make sure that you're following him for all of the market updates that come up. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.